Hi everyone, and welcome to Protocol 36, and in today's video we'll be talking about the latest plot leak for Spider-Man No Way Home, which has few new details which we can talk about, and obviously speculate which part is real and which part is fake. Obviously this is a plot leak, so please take it with a grain of salt, as there's a very good chance that this could be fake. But before we get started, if at any point you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you could drop a like, as that would really help out the channel. Thank you. Now this plot leak comes from 4chan, and it's from someone who introduces himself saying, "Hello everybody, I leaked information on Sony's plans here earlier and was asked to break down the plot. I originally worked with Marvel Studios in a more minor capacity, but moved to work at Sony years ago. I've seen a rough cut of No Way Home that was roughly 3 hours and 20 minutes long. There was unfinished CGI, many animatics used to stand in for footage slated for additional photography. However, I have read the script, and even though much changed from that to filming, I can answer questions using that as a baseline for things that were not presented in this cut." He goes on to say the film opens with the immediate aftermath of Spider-Man Far From Home. Peter as Spidey is on the run and ends up surrounded by SWAT and police helicopters. On top of the Statue of Liberty, Peter escapes using the helicopter to swim back to the city and hides at the back of the feast truck, removing his mask in exhaustion as he rests on a pile of clothes he's sitting on. Marvel Studios intro plays, cut to a dailybugle.net bulletin with J. Jonah Jameson recapping Far From Home. Some new back footage here as a leak mentions the new Captain America shield on the Statue of Liberty as a gift from Wakanda in a show of support for Sam Wilson as Cap, which is followed by a scene of Peter in court. He's being defended by Matt Murdock, played by Charlie Cox, who is trying to convince the jury that Peter Parker is not Spider-Man. They don't appear to be trying to prove that Spider-Man's innocent, just Peter. The court is adjourned for today, and Peter speaks with Matt, May and Happy. As they exit, we see various mysterious supporters protesting in front of the courthouse, along with people who believe Peter is being framed. Peter meets with Ned, MJ at a bakery they work at. They discuss the identity reveal and show Peter a Midtown High news video that was made discussing the topic. Flash is shown denying that Peter Parker could ever be as cool as Spider-Man before starting to cry and telling them to stop filming. Peter has a nightmare about Beck goading him about winning, and this will destroy everything Peter has. Gyllenhaal returns for this scene. Peter shoots away and goes for a nighttime swing to Ned's house. Ned's mother lets him in, and Peter speaks with Ned about his concerns regarding how this is affecting their friendship and his relationship with MJ, but Ned promises Peter that they both have his back. The next day, Peter arrives to the courthouse with Matt, Happy and May, meeting Ned and MJ at the door. They are surrounded and overwhelmed by a group of mysterious supporters. Peter tries to get everyone out of there without using his powers, but struggles until he's transported to the Sanctum Sanctorum with Ned, MJ, Happy and May. Doctor Strange appears in his astral form and tells Peter that there's a multiversal threat he's dealing with individuals taken from their home world. He states that he brought Peter and his friends to the Sanctum for safety from great threats from these worlds. When Strange leaves, Peter, Ned and MJ explore the Sanctum and comes across a door which leads to a multiversal holding in which Strange is keeping multiversal stowaways. The CGI is unfinished here, but the script details multiple beings from the Marvel multiverse are amongst those shown, including Melina as Doc Ock and Fox as Electro. Ned engages with them and they recount their deaths from their respective movies and claim to want fresh starts in the MCU. This resonates with Peter, who rashly decides to let them go. He is then attacked by Ock when Doctor Strange appears to protect Peter. Electro attacks Strange, who holds back a continuous blast of lightning while Otto escapes. Electro redirects the lightning to the ceiling and follows Otto while Strange protects Ned and MJ from debris. Peter leaves the Sanctum suited up and attempts to chase them. When Paul Giamatti's Rhino attacks, rampaging down the street, he attempts to take him down in a sequence that can only be described as a destructive bull ride and is almost at Rhino's mercy until a manhole cover crashes into him, knocking him over. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man enters the fight and banters with Rhino and Peter before the two decide to use the Empire Strikes Back method together to take him down. End of Act 1. MCU Peter and Andrew's Peter regroup and introduce themselves to each other. They have an instant connection and start to geek out about each other's web shooters and express confusion on why Andrew is here, until Strange transports them back to the Sanctum and sends Rhino to the multiversal prison. He explains the multiverse to the two Peters, and he says that he brought Andrew's Peter to help MCU Peter track down the escaped villains, as Strange is too busy with a greater threat to hunt them down. The scene ends with May, Ned and MJ walking in on the two Peters and expressing confusion. Tom's Peter asks where they should start looking. Doc Ock and Electro are shown entering an abandoned Oscorp facility and are met by Willem Dafoe's Norman Osborn. Osborn claims to be one of the many who hold a grudge against Spider-Man for quote-unquote killing him. He recounts his death from Spider-Man 2002 and offers the villains not only a way to get revenge on their spiders, but also a chance to stay in the MCU forever. Here it's revealed that Otto is actually the tentacle tentacles taking control of Doc Ock's consciousness while he's at the brink of death. Electro and Ock agreed to Norman's plans and joined forces with him. The two Peters talk about their constants on the universes in an attempt to figure out where Electro went, and have a conversation which mentions Andrew's Gwen Stacy, while Peter mentions Tony and his Ben, before quickly moving off the topic. When Andrew claims that there's no Tony Stark on his world, and Oscorp is the industrial giant of his world, MJ brings up the existence of Oscorp in the MCU and shows the Peters an article stating Oscorp Industries has purchased Avengers Tower and is the first non-Stark company to have access to arc reactor power. When Peter explains to Andrew what an arc reactor is, they both assume Electro is going after the reactor and head to the tower. They are proven right when they encounter Electro attempting to break into the tower. A brief fight commences between the Peters and Electro before they're interrupted by the presence of RZA fans Lizard. MCU Peter chases after Electro, who is into the tower's power supply, while Andrew has a rematch with Lizard. MCU Peter chases Electro to the river where the arc reactor sits. Peter watches as he absorbs the arc reactor energy and is blasted by mega charged Electro. Ock is seen removing the arc with his tentacle arms before both he and Electro escape. Andrew is struggling to fight Lizard, who remarks is a lot stronger than last time. When Peter rejoins the fight, ultimately Lizard escapes and the Peters quip about not being used to fighting so many supervillains at once. Doc Ock brings the reactor back to the Oscorp facility and Electro remarks on the power it generates. Osborn tells Electro to overpower it, which creates a brief rift in reality. Lizard returns and informs Osborn that the Peters are defeated but not dead. Upon hearing this, Osborn tells Doc Ock that it's time to get to work, and they begin finishing a device Norman created to channel the arc energy into creating rifts that will let them travel the multiverse at will. Peter and Andrew sit on the rooftop and talk about their feelings of Spider-Man. Peter brings up the ferry incident, Tony Stark's death, and Mysterio's victory in relation to his ring of the villains, and how he keeps making mistakes that cost him. Andrew speaks about Captain Stacy, Connors, Harry, and Gwen, and how being Spider-Man comes with a cost, but they have to keep doing the right thing with their abilities regardless. The conversation takes a lighter turn as the heroes discuss the ways they use their powers for everyday stuff. Andrew's Peter makes a comment about web swinging to beat the traffic to work. The two are interrupted by an earthquake as Oscorp is testing the multiversal rift device. He sends Thomas Hayden Church's Sandman through the rift, claiming that he's going home. Sandman steps through, and before the others can come into the rift, the two Spideys show up to stop them. They engage in a fight with Ock and Lizard while Electro struggles to contain the arc energy. The rift becomes chaotic and drag the two Spideys along with the Lizard. The Spideys are flung into the street while Lizard isn't seen landing as the rift closes. Osborn, Ock, and Electro watch the rift close on their end, the facility in ruins. Osborn comments on they need a larger conductor as his eye is drawn to a poster on the new Statue of Liberty. The two Peters come to check in on each other before they're attacked by Sandman, who is largely in human form here, using sand weapons. They struggle to fight him as he manages to slip through every grasp until he's knocked down by a large blast of water. He melts into the drains on the street, with the Peters watching until they look towards a nearby fire hydrant, which appears to have been bent towards Sandman with brute force. They approach and find a note attached to it by a web. I can't remember it exactly, but it was an address in Forest Hills labeled home. The two Peters arrive at a house in Queens wearing civilian clothes. They discuss the possibilities of who the note could be from, including alternate Earth SHIELD agents from MCU Spider-Man, to which Andrew responds with a shudder. They knock on the door, which opens to Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane Watson, who invites them in. She hands them cocoa in the living room while Raimi vs. J. Jonah Jameson runs on the TV about Quest Aerospace merging with Stark International. Mary Jane remarks that he'll be down in a second. The Peters share a look before a man enters the room, sits on a chair in front of them. It's revealed to be Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, and he remarks, "So, who are you guys?" And that's the end of Act 2. Now, when it comes to this Spider-Man No Way Home plot leak, they only have 2 acts, which is pretty suspicious as they did mention that they have seen a 3 hours and 20 minutes long rough cut of No Way Home. But then again, it is a rough cut, not everything will be in the film. However, they have mentioned that they've seen the script, which leads me to kind of think that it's fake. However, that said, there's still a lot of stuff in it that could definitely be true and can actually see happening. For example, with Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker and Tom Holland's Peter Parker getting along when they first meet, geeking out about the web shooters, and also talking about their past lives, which I think we'll get to see with not only those two but also with Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker. So I think this bit has a chance of being true. They also do mention the stuff from the set photos, like the Peter Pan bakery store, which we know MJ is working at, the feast truck, which we've seen set photos of, and of course the poster of the Statue of Liberty. And apparently the context behind this, assuming that this leak is true, is the fact that the massive shield is from Wakanda to show their support for Sam Wilson as Captain America America, as they were the ones who gave him the brand new Captain America suit in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And these bits could well be true, and I wouldn't be surprised if they are. However, things like Peter Parker being the ones responsible for freeing the villains, I don't really think it's true, especially after Peter Parker gave his glasses to Beck in Spider-Man Far From Home, which obviously when Peter Parker finds out that Mysterio was a fake and was a fraud, he would definitely learn from that and make sure not to trust people that easily. However, then again, you know, I could 100% be wrong. There have been other plot leaks that mentions that this is going to happen and that Doctor Strange is the one to have them in the multiverse type of prison, which to me still doesn't really explain how the villains are still alive, though I do believe when the film comes out it will give us an explanation on how they came back. That said though, with a few exceptions, I do think that this leak is fake, and hopefully when the trailer comes out, which at this point kind of seems unlikely, we will get an idea of what the film will be about and how it will deal with the aftermath of Spider-Man Far From Home, while also tackling the multiverse stuff, which are rumored / confirmed to happen in Spider-Man No Way Home, thanks to Alfred Molina. I also do think that Charlie Cox will return as Matt Murdock, though that is still yet to be confirmed. I still believe that he will return in the film, only to have 5 to 10 minutes of screen time, which to me is enough if they're going to be tackling all the multiverse stuff. But at this point, I really hope that we do get to see Matt Murdock in the film defending Peter Parker. You never know though when it comes to this plot leak. The leaker may come back and reveal what Act 3 and possibly the epilogue will be about, and if they do, I'll definitely make a video about it. However, what about you guys? What do you think about the plot leak for Spider-Man No Way Home? Do you think it's real? Do you think it's fake? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram or Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please like, and want more, subscribe. To begin, Protocol 36.